Okay. Hey, welcome everybody. We saw people joining from all over the place. Thank you so much. And a disclaimer to start, as always, we're dealing with technology, which can be our beast of burden from many remote places. So if this kind of goes kaput somewhere in here, we are going to record this and we're going to post it to our YouTube channel a little later than this. So if anyone else needs to see that afterwards, hope it'll be available for everybody.
Great.
And then the way this will work is there's a under your options for Zoom, there is a Q&A section. And if people will please put their questions for John in the Q&A, I'll kind of toss them up for him, and we'll go through them, and we'll try and get them answered if we can. But that aside, the official introduction, this is Art in Place. My name is Dustin Cockerham from High Desert Museum. I'm the art and experience developer, and I am absolutely thrilled to be joined with the wonderful John Simpkins. And I'm so happy to talk with John. When we started exploring the idea of art in place, he came up instantly, because what better than when the place becomes part of the art? And so with that, I will introduce John Simpkins.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Andrew's School. We're here in this ghost town, just you and I and my dog, and of course Dustin. And so this is the schoolhouse, and it's become my studio space. And I guess, Dustin, should I just kind of do a little tour or something? What do you want? What would you like me to do?
Yeah, please bring us inside, please. I'm sure everyone would love to.
Okay, let's see. I'm thinking I'm going to turn the camera thing around. Is that a good idea?
I'm all for risk taking. Let's give it a go.
Here's a risk. Get ready, everyone. Okay, here's the hand. I'm going to do it. And I push it. Okay, great. Now I can see what you guys are seeing. Okay, so I want to make everyone dizzy here, too much here. But so there's Shia. Shia, come say hello. Yeah, say hi. So this is the schoolhouse. We'll go inside. It was built around 1930, 1932, something like that. That's my guardian there. So we'll go inside. In here. I will leave Shia outside, I guess. This is interesting, kind of doing it this way. What I wanted to show you guys is, I have a photograph of the way the school looked when I first saw it. And let's see if I can find the image. There it is. Okay, that's the inside of the schoolhouse when I first came out here in 2011. It was the fall of 2011. It's with my friend Madeline. So now it looks like this. So now we're inside the school. And I'll just kind of walk you gently around here. I don't want to get you guys too dizzy. I'll try to go slow. Just kind of pan around a little bit. How's this, Dustin? Is this working?
It looks good on my end.
Okay. The first time I've ever done anything like this.
And we've already got some. So one question folks have is, how did you end up at the Andrews School?
How did I end up here? That's a good question. This school belongs to a collector of mine, and he insisted I come out here. He said, you need to go out there. This is a little board I've got with stuff on here. Just want to show you that. So at first I said, no way am I going out there. And I'll switch this back now to me so I tell this story. I looked on the map. I said, that's a long way from everything out there. I don't think so. And my friend Madeline said she would drive me out here. And she did. And that's the first time I saw the place. When I saw it, it was like, oh yeah, I can do that. I can do that. So that's how it started. I've been here for almost about 9 years, I guess. I've been painting here. And the place is a wonderful place to paint because there's no distractions really. I'm just here painting. So I'll switch it back around so you don't have to look at me so much.
Oh no, I think, well, people want to see you, and so you switch at your whimsy. And so
do they want to see me and everything else at the same time?
oh yeah.
They do?
Yeah. Oh,
How
absolutely.
I'm not sure how I can do that.
So, and we have a question.
Yeah.
Based on the space, did you always paint so large, or when did you transition, or did you transition to such large paintings when you went out to that space?
I transitioned. I always wanted. I'll switch back here. Do that for me? Thank you. I'd always wanted to paint big, and I didn't. I mean, I did some paintings, but when I got out here, the bookcase that was there, I just thought, this is probably my chance to paint big. And so I put a board up there, a couple pieces of plywood, and I started painting on that. And it transitioned into the wall that I have now, a temporary wall that I paint on. And it has enabled me to paint as large as that, which is, 8 feet by like 14 feet. That's as big as I can go. I would go bigger if I could. I like painting big because you get involved with the painting. It's bigger than me, and I get involved. I just totally involved in that world until it's done. So, yeah. Let's see. How do I show you? Let me turn this around again. Can I turn it around, Dustin? So I can see what I'm. This is easier for me. I'm just going to pan around, just like I'm walking around here.
No,
so you see, and then if anybody's got any questions, little collection of stuff I got here.
Yeah, actually, we do have a question. People want to know a bit more about what you have on the table there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, this is like, these are things I found out here, bit by bit. And I started organizing it as to color and type, and then it became a thing. Now it's a thing. But I also like to organize things, so I'm like these pieces. Let's see if I get my hand in here. These pieces. These are from the Chinese workers that worked in the borax mines. And my intention is to take these back and sprinkle them back out there into the ground. Same things with these. I want to return these things if I can. So I kind of organize them so it helps me remember where they came from, if I can. And then, my paint, I often get comments like I'm so neat or something like that, but I don't think of it that way. I just think of it as like, it's easier for me to have the colors organized so I know where everything is, So it's not so much neatness, although it is. This is where I work. This is my painting tray. I was going to show you my favorite brush. This is one of my favorite brushes. I don't know if the camera can see this. Yeah, here we go. Yes, there it is. So you can see it's been well used. And this is my friend, this brush here. It's helped me do a lot of stuff. So this is my painting area. And then over here is the painting that I'm working on right now. It's called, I'm going to call it In Place. I'm going to turn this around like this.
Yeah.
So I still have to paint the curtains, but I've been working on it for quite a while. quite a number of weeks.
And I'd like to ask you, look, a lot of people want to know a bit more about your process. Like, I think people know through your social media updates that you paint fairly slowly, but kind of intuitively. But people want to know, like, do you sketch it out first, or do you have an idea of where it's going to go, or do you just let it all happen as it happens?
My preference, my favorite thing to do is to not have any plan and just start with nothing. Start with a big canvas that's primed, and then just sit. I sit and look at it, and it begins to tell me what it wants. I know that sounds a little odd, but that's what I do. And it goes slowly. It evolves step by step until finally it says, "Hey, I'm done." It'll tell me to quit. So that's my process basically, and it's day after day after day. Now I'm going to turn it back this way now. I really, that's my life. It's all I do. I drink espresso, I eat oatmeal, and I paint every day. So that's my process. And I've been doing it for a long time. I think I started painting when I was like 18. So I've been at it a while. So any other questions?
We've got some questions.
You do?
Yeah. I've got some very interesting ones here. A lot of people want to know more about what you like about that brush in particular. Why? And what is that brush called?
Well, what is it called? What is this thing called? I bet there are people out there who know what this is called. We used to call them cat's tongues. I'm going to switch this around. So why do I like it? It's because when I paint, I like to do what's called dry brushing. So I'm going to take you up really close to the surface here. Okay. And where's the brush now? Where's the camera? I'm trying to find where I am here. Excuse me, folks. Hang on. I'll find it. Where the heck did it go? Where's the camera?
I don't think anyone's complaining about being lost in one of your paintings.
There it is. Okay, there's the brush. So what I do is I put paint on the brush, and then I wipe most of that paint off. And then you just go on the surface, dry brushing, or some call it scumbling. And it creates this texture. It takes many, many coats. And then I sand it off, and I do it again and again and again. And it builds up this texture, which I can kind of get lost in. I mean, the simplest things have, every single thing has a kind of it has to please me. That's why it takes so long to do stuff. Because I want, like, this is so tiny, but see all the colors in there?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I like to do. Just take my time. So that brush works really well because it's all worn out. And it's hardly, here's some, look at these guys. Look at this. Okay. Can you see that one? I mean, there's a little one for you to look at. You can see the size of my finger. Now you see the size of the end. Now that is too big sometimes. That brush is too big for me. So,
John, there's a question here I really like, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. It says, how does the change of seasons affect your work in terms of habit or hours or your symbolism?
Oh, wow. Well, life out here is challenging anyway. I mean, it's kind of rugged, elemental. And so it's very, very cold in the winter, and it's very, very hot in the summer. So it all takes gets involved in the work. As far as symbolism goes, again, it's not something that I'm consciously doing. Most of these things evolve as the days progress. I don't sit down and say, well, I'm going to figure out all these symbols. I want to put all these things in it. I don't do it that way. It's like every day I come in, I sit down, I look at the painting, and it usually tells me something like, do this over here, do this over there. And I've learned to just do that, not question it, just do it. And then that's how it happens. So it's not really there's not planning involved. Not really. I prefer not to have planning. I prefer not to know what I'm doing, which is easy. That's easy for me, not to know what I'm doing. I'm really good at that. So here in this place, the landscape, the animals, the weather, yes, all these things, I believe it begins to speak through me. And I just say, hey, I'm your tool. Use me. I'll make images for you, whatever you want. And that sounds kind of crazy. I know it does, but it's an adventure for me too, because I don't really know what's going to come. I like that. I used to plan everything, sketches and everything. And that was okay. That's fine. But this is much more fun because I never know where it's going to go. And it's always an adventure. And it goes on and on until, like I say, I'll come out someday with my coffee and I'll sit down and the painting says, you're done. And I say, please, can I maybe just one more stroke? Could I just do? No, it says, no, you're done. So that's it. That's it, guys. That's my process. That's my process. I've been out here a while. Can you tell? I've been out here, like I said, 9 years. Hasn't affected me at all, as you can see. Hermit life. But hey, what is life about, right?
Well, and then the idea of isolation and hermit life, and then kind of pouring yourself into something. Someone asked very straightforward, what goes on in your head while you're painting? Like, is it meditative for you, or are you completely focused in it, or?
Yes. Next question, please.
And we have a lot of technical ones too, if you want to get into nitty gritties. But we also have some pretty fun ones.
That was a short answer. I want to say, yes, it is meditative, very meditative. Yes. What was the other part? I get lost in the work. Yeah, it's meditative. That's probably it. I don't think a lot. No, I prefer not to think while I'm working. So I keep open mind. I'll tell you what, that's that place where you go just before you fall asleep. It's like you're awake, but you're not awake. And that's where I like to go, right there. Often I'll sit in this chair like I'm sitting in now, and I'll be looking at the painting. And I allow myself to get very sleepy. And I go to that place where I'm not totally awake and I'm not asleep. It's right in between. And that's the place where images come to me. And that's where I start incorporating those images into the work. And it comes from that place. What is that called? I don't know.
I don't know. Somewhere that's probably in a Carlos Castaneda book or something like that.
I'm sure it is.
Here's one, and I'm actually not super familiar with this one. It says you frequently post rabbit, rabbit, rabbit on your Facebook page. What is the significance of that?
You guys, look. This is what Google is for. Okay, You go to Google and you go rabbit, 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 and you get all the information. This is an old superstition kind of thing. May that be the right word, from the British Isles. And evidently the people started saying rabbit, rabbit, rabbit. The very first day of the month, it has to be the very first thing you say on that day. Very first thing. You don't say anything else. So you don't say good morning. You have to say rabbit, rabbit, rabbit. And then it's supposed to kind of give you good luck for the rest of the month. And I heard about that. I thought, hey, that's easy. I could do that. I could say rabbit, rabbit, rabbit. And I don't know if it works or not, but it's kind of fun. And I started making images and posting them on my Facebook page. And then other people started doing it too, I think. And it's just kind of a fun thing to do. And no big deal there.
No, I had never heard that either. So but I will definitely be saying rabbit, rabbit, rabbit next month.
It can't hurt, doesn't it?
Well, I think we could probably all use it.
I think so, especially now. I think, now is the time. An interesting thing, too, here for me, there's a rabbit that lives under the schoolhouse, the stone schoolhouse. There's a cottontail rabbit that lives under there. And she had babies. And just recently, I saw them, and there were 3 of them. Actually, it was on the first day of the month. There was literally rabbit, rabbit, rabbit. And I thought, oh, that is something. A lot of things happen like that out here. Yeah. Magic happens out here. So your work has so much kind of symbolism or iconography in it.
And someone had asked if you'd studied iconography or symbolism like formally, or if that has just kind of grown organically in your work.
No study. No, it's just intuitive, entirely intuitive. A lot of times I'll do something and then I'll find out what it means later. And often, interestingly, it'll have the meaning that was intended. And I don't understand that at all. I don't know where that stuff comes from. But I don't like to question it too much. I just like to flow with it and just trust. I just kind of think that this universe is pretty amazing, right? And all the things that are in it on our earth, the diversity, the magnificence of design. And I just think it's part and parcel of the cosmos. And if you relax into the space, that the creativity just comes through us, and things come through. And that's the place I like to be to paint, is in that space of not forcing, not planning. Like I said, just I want the painting to reveal itself to me as part of the adventure for me. That every day is to not know where is it going to take me today, and then when these things are done, I've got quite a few of them here now. I look at them, I look back on them, and I really don't recall a lot of that painting that I did. It's kind of different for me too. So I'm going to turn this around again so that I look at the painting instead of me, because I'm really tired of looking at me. And I'm going to flip this like this. And like this painting is really about finding, I think it's just about finding simple joys in a time of absolute chaos and so much energy coming at us all the time now. And for me, I can find peace in that simple joy of just a little espresso and a croissant. So this is probably a self-portrait. I don't know. Who knows? They'll tell me that later after I'm gone. But yeah. Let's see, I'll put it back to me now.
Um,
Is this good? I'll sit over here. I guess I can sit here.
So, the idea of being out there and just kind of listening and watching and letting it all happen. We do have a nice question here. Do the animals bring you stories you follow?
I'm going to turn it this way now. Yes, always. And those things have been incorporated into the painting since I started here. One story about Dear Edward, the deer that I think you posted as part of the invitation for this today. I was sitting, I'll just show you where I was sitting. This is how it happened. So I was meditating on my cushion here, right? It was before dawn, so I was looking out the window. I was just sitting here like this, just looking out the window towards, Wild Horse Canyon up there. And it wasn't sunup yet. It was still quite dark. And I had my eyes lowered, as I often do as I'm meditating. And as I raised my eyes, there was a deer with his nose right against this window, looking at me. And it startled me, and I didn't move, and it didn't move. It stayed right there, looking right into my eyes, and I was looking right into his eyes. It was a male, had huge horns. And that became, I wanted to paint about that. So that became Dear Edward. That's how that started. And so many paintings come from experiences here for me. Because I'm here alone, except for my dog, you get close to the animals, the birds and I had my gosh, animals just come right up to you sometimes, or up to me. Like it's coming sometimes. It's a little startling because you think, man, is that a rabbit or what? No, they're just curious, and they. It's very moving, and there's always something to paint here. Yeah. So I love the animals here.
Do you want a fun one? Where do you get croissants in Andrews?
That's a good question. I'm so glad you asked that question. How do I get croissants in Andrews? How in the world could I possibly? So you need friends in life. You have to have friends in life. And I have a very good friend. I'll say his name is Bruce Couch. And Bruce brings me croissants when he comes out here from the Sparrow Bakery. And wow, doesn't get much better than that. That's how I get my croissants.
Good. We've got one that's came up fairly often is kind of some other influences. Like, do you, maybe not necessarily influences, but do you listen to music while you paint? And if so, what? Or does that kind of work its way into things as well?
That is a good question. And yes, I listen to music all the time I'm painting. And right now, my spirit sister, Lucinda Bridges, has compiled an amazing assemblage of music for me. She listens and she picks pieces and she puts it on Spotify. Excuse me. And this is amazing, but it touches me so deeply, the music. And I have so many friends who are musicians too. And I listen to music all the time. I always have. It's just part and parcel of it. So yes, I love music. Absolutely.
There was also one I liked here when you were kind of zoomed in on your painting, I mean, there's so much texture. And someone had a question kind of tying that to quilt blocks and quilts. Is that just something that happened, or do you have a connection to quilting at some point in your life?
Yes. I have had I love quilts, and I'll go over here. Let's see, since you asked this question about like quilt blocking, I'm thinking you're talking about things like this, right?
Yeah.
And I can just get lost. I get lost in stuff. Like, you see how big my finger is here. I just get lost in stuff like this, and it just becomes another world. I just keep dividing. If I could divide that square into another series of squares, I would, but I can't see that well anymore. But it's something about it. It's meditative, and I try to create a balance, but not. I don't want a balance that isn't this. I don't want it too stable. I want the eye to move around and be pulled here and there and make it more interesting. So I don't want it to just be absolutely solid, stable, because then you could easily figure that out and move along. But I want to have something where I can just look at it and look at it and look at it and find new things in it all the time. So that's the deal with this. It's not really planned. I don't set out to say I'm going to paint a quilt-like painting. It just happens to me. I've been painting checkerboards forever. I've painted a lot of checkerboards, and I never tire of them for some reason. I just like it. I don't know why. I just do. I just keep dividing them more and more checkerboards. I think it's the play of opposites that I like. Black and white, red and green, yellow and violet, orange and blue. I like the play of opposites and finding balance between opposites. And at this time on Earth, this is a good time to find balance with opposites. And there's always a way to do it. You just have to be patient. I think you have to be patient. Just take your time. So that's the deal with the quilt blocks. I have designed quilts too in the past. It was fun. And I had a friend who made them. It was really fun. Immersed in the wall. It was great. So, yeah, that's that.
Speaking of opposites and light and dark, we do have a question. Do you paint after dark? And if you don't, what do you do at night out there?
I don't. I used to use natural light. Like, I've got these artificial lights on tonight. I mean, for now, because it's pretty dim, actually, if I turn them off. And for this broadcast. I used to try to paint at night. And the next day I would find that the colors were a little off. Just a little. And it was frustrating. And I would be like, oh, man, I got to repaint all that. I was up all night. I was up until 2 a.m. and oh, man. So I started painting with natural light, and I had less of that happen. And it's sort of like that's what I do. So what do I do at night? I read. Okay, here it goes. I stream stuff on the internet. I watch movies. That's it. I can get hooked on those, those videos, those short videos that run one into the next. That's what used up all my gigabyte. That's why I had to buy more gigabytes for this. We had to buy more because I used them all up streaming. Bad.
Well, now after this, everyone is going to send you so many funny things to watch. You're going to use it all up again. So
I'm sure.
So we have a few questions about the work and the pangolin in the work and how that came about.
The pangolin piece. Okay. Well, it started out just as a big red canvas. I primed it with red gesso, and at that was the time when the fires were raging in Australia. And so the painting began to take on a little bit about that. But then this circle developed, it kept wanting to come back. A circle in the center or off center of that rectangular design. And I didn't know what that was going to be. I had no idea what that was, but it wanted to stay there. And time came after I finished the other parts that it was time to, what is it going to be? And I just kind of did an open-minded search on Google. I thought, well, maybe an animal of some kind. And it didn't take long. I went right to a pangolin. I didn't know what a pangolin was. I'd never heard of it. To my knowledge, I hadn't heard of it before. And so when I saw it, I was like, yes, that's it. That's what I want. That's the one. So I put it in. I started putting it in the painting, and it was a couple of weeks or so, maybe longer later, that a report came out in the news. Remember that report that pangolins may have had something to do with the transference of the virus, maybe from bats to pangolins to humans, who knows what, right? We don't know, maybe yet. So that surprised me when I was like, how, and the painting was about, it's very timely, and it just came out that way by itself.
And it seems like that has happened before with a lot of your paintings. And do you feel like the paintings are maybe, and this is coming off of a question here, like a conduit to what's going on? Or is that just purely organic and how that happens?
Good question. I don't know how to answer that question because there's so much we don't know, right? I don't know how, that has happened before for me a few times, many times maybe, of paintings kind of being ahead of themselves, ahead of time. And things happen, and then I look at the painting and go, wow, I kind of painted that before it happened. And I don't know how that happens, really. But that part that I tell you about of consciousness going to that place that is not quite, I'm awake, but I'm not. That place is almost like place of dream. And that's a huge area there to explore. Let me tell you. That's where a lot of this stuff comes for me, and I'm fascinated by it. I don't really question it. I just do it. I used to question it. I used to question it all the time. I would say, "Oh, I'm not doing that. Are you nuts? I'm not doing that. That's crazy." And then over time, I thought, well, let's give it a go. Let's see what, And then it was like, there's something to this. I'm going to listen more to that voice that tells me what to do up there and stop questioning it so much. Stop having all these reasons not to do it. Instead, it's much easier just to allow. Just let it happen. And then that becomes an adventure for me. And I think for others too. At the museum, when we had the show at the museum.
Yes.
People didn't know. They didn't know who I was, really. So I was incognito, really. I could walk around and people didn't know that I was the guy who did it. I did these paintings. And so many times there were people who were weeping, a little tear, and I would ask them after a while, say, so can I ask what it was about this piece that moved you to feel emotion? And it wasn't the same for everyone. Had a kind of a different thing. And so, see, that fascinates me too. I think it's that place of painting that can touch people, touch their hearts, and touch their spirits, if you're open to that. And I am. It's like, hey, man, I live in a ghost town. I have nothing else to do. It's an adventure.
And actually, maybe the answer to this question and the answer to if you put it into modern day, like someone asked, why did you start painting in the first place? And maybe the answer is similar, is why do you wake up and start painting every day now?
Good one. That's a good one. Who asked that question?
I can call them out here. We can track them down, but
yeah. I started painting in mud. I remember I got in trouble all the time when I was a kid because I did stuff that I thought was beautiful, and I would get in trouble for it. Like, my dad built a brand new fence out of redwood, and he was gone during the day, and I mixed up a bunch of mud and I painted this fence with mud. I thought it was beautiful because it blended with the landscape, and he lost it. And then the neighbor had a car, just sat there all the time, and I didn't have anything to do, similar to what I am now, right? And I discovered that if I took rocks and hit the windshield with rocks, it made stars. And it was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. So I did the whole car that way. All the windows I did in stars. One of my best works. So I've been painting forever. It's just a natural thing. It's who I am, I think. It's just natural. It's not like a job. It's me. It's just, I'd probably paint in mud if I could. I guess I can. Yeah.
That's a great story about making stars all over the car. So
it was beautiful, Dustin. It was beautiful, Dustin.
So you didn't start your art career with a good fan reaction, so to speak.
No, I couldn't understand. I really couldn't understand why the adults were so upset. I mean, they were red-faced. They were having meltdowns about this. And I thought, that is the strangest thing. I made something really beautiful and they're upset about it. I don't understand that at all. I don't understand adults. I still don't, even though now look how old I am now. I still feel like I'm still that kid. I'm still like that 3-year-old boy, I still feel the same. I'm just older. I have, wow, I see myself in the mirror. I'm like, whoa. Spirit's the same. Yeah.
There's one actually. Yeah. This was one of the first questions that came in, and it's a nice one too. Is morning or sunrise your favorite time of day? Oh yeah, that says is morning or / sun. Okay, I'm reading it wrong. That's my fault. Is morning / sunrise your favorite time of the day?
Is morning / sunrise?
Yes.
Morning / sunrise. Is that my favorite time of day? Probably. Probably so.
Because you go out first thing in the morning and take photos, don't you?
I do. And gosh, this jetpack's hot. Have you ever had a jetpack in your pocket? Whew. I'm taking that. I took the jetpack. Lucky. I was thinking, I think I'm having my leg microwaved. I'm going to sit down here. Yes, I get up very early in the morning. First thing I do is reach for the espresso pot, make some espresso, and then go out and see what the day has brought, what's happening out there, weather-wise, lights, the sunrise, and every day is different. And it's a start again. We start again and again, and I never tire of it. It's so amazing that every day is different. And so, yes. Does that answer the question, you think?
I think so.
Yeah. I'm going to turn this again. Watch out, everybody. Hang on. I'm turning. Okay. Well, okay.
There we go.
Okay. I can prop this thing up, can't I? Let me do this. Hang on, everybody. I've been holding this device, and it's stuck. I think I can do it. There. My hands are free. Wow. Okay. Here we go. How's that? And here you are. I want to thank everybody, too, for checking in tonight. I really appreciate it. I wish I could see everybody. I know you can see me, but I can't see everybody out there. Any other questions, Dustin?
We do. When you finish a painting, do you feel euphoric and energized, or sad that it's over? Or does that change based on the painting?
It's more. That's a good question. It's not really euphoric. It's not that. It's not like celebration, like, wow, we're celebrating. It's not like that. It's more like, oh man, I'm out of a job. Shoot. I'm not needed anymore. I have to, and that's what happens. It's like the paintings telling me that I'm done and that I'm no longer needed and to move on. And so then I have to sort of sit with that and figure out what's next, what else is coming forth after this. So, there was that one painting that hardly anyone has seen. It's a big triptych that I did for George Strumpel, called The Flood. Very appropriate for now, by the way. It took 25 years to finish it. And so there was a bit of happiness at the end of that one. It was like, wow, I finished it. It only took me 25 years. Who's counting time, Tick tock.
Yeah.
So that was good. And then I came here.
I do see one here, and I think it's right behind your head. What does the title on the green book in the painting say?
Can you read it? Or is it backwards? Is it backwards, or can you read it?
Does it say renewal?
It does. It says renewal. It just could have happened. It's like at this time, it seems like I get these images of like a fine tapestry, an amazing tapestry that's it's coming apart. It's unraveling. These beautiful threads are unraveling bit by bit. And so it's images of the tapestry so I sense it's a very confusing time, but it's a time also of potential and renewal, I think. That's all I'm getting. It's a sort of an intuitive sense that I get, something like that. So I did this kind of book thing, and notice the figure is not even holding it. Somehow how does that happen? The book is just floating in space. Things like that happen in dreams.
Can you pan up to the neck a little higher? Someone had actually wanted to see the neck and higher of the piece.
They do. Okay, we can do that. I have the punt. I can do that. Okay, let's see. Since the cameras, okay, hang on, everybody. I'm going to turn it. Okay. And so what do you want to see exactly?
Yeah, they said the neck looked like it was glowing. It was so vibrant. And I think people just wanted to get a better look at it.
Well, it's a tanager, and they are here actually nesting. And so that's where this came from. It's like the birds came here, and they're really remarkable looking. They don't wear beanies like this though. So I don't want you to get the idea that they dress like this and wear beanies. They don't. But they do have the coloration like that. So that's that. You want to go closer? Let me see. Let me flip this. If I can. Okay. Are you still with me, everybody?
Yes, we are here.
So scale, let me see, finger. There's a finger for scale, a very dirty finger, by the way, pardon me. But so these things are really tiny. And see the texture? I love to build a texture like this for dry brushing. Someone said that this eye was apathetic. Who said that? Somebody. And I said, I thought, apathetic? Perhaps. But I sort of see it as not really sad, but sort of sad, but kind of meditative, I think. Kind of contemplating, but there's always hope. I always think there's hope. I think that's why I put, these strings on the fingers is to remind us that there's always hope. Don't lose the hope. And plus the rainbow, those are, to me, that's a hopeful sign, because all the colors in the rainbow come, from pure light. I think it's really magical. So, does anyone want to see anything else of this painting? I mean, I'm going really slowly here to kind of, you're really close. You can see the texture of the canvas. Camera's having a hard time focusing on it. So, is that what you guys want to see? Like this?
Yeah, there's so much detail in your work. I think people just want to, and it's especially these large pieces. When we did the show at the museum, that was what was so amazing, was to be able to stand in front of all these all at once. And
there's a tiny little boat down there. And I could get in trouble for this, but I'm going to do it anyway. I don't know if it'll even show in this camera, but there is someone down here. Whoops, we won't want to stay down there very long. Yes, okay. I'll flip this back around, I guess. Oh, there's a croissant, of course. Okay.
Well, I think we are running up to the end of our time here. There's no way we'll be able to answer all the questions. But I'm sure I speak for everyone here when I just want to, very deeply say thank you so much for bringing us into your space and showing us around and spending the evening with us and telling us these stories. It's been incredible.
I am so thankful to all of you. I can't thank you enough. Thank you, and thank you, Kyle. Thank you, High Desert Museum. But especially thank you, everyone who checked in to watch this. And it really keeps me going. All of your energies, I feel it. And, living out here alone with my dog, it helps to have that energy of people. And I want to thank you. Thank you for that. So I hope I answered your questions. If you have more questions, just, email me or write me or something, and I'll try to answer them for you. And once this pandemic is over, I'd love to have all of you come and visit, but not just yet. We have to wait a while. Okay.
And I know a lot of people have asked, this will be available, I believe, on the museum's YouTube channel afterwards. We are recording this so we can share it with people. And there was a lot of people asking how to find your work, how to see more of your work. And we can also link to your website, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's basically, unless people are on Facebook. Well, the thing with Facebook for me is the website is kind of, it's kind of frozen, and then I keep painting, and the new paintings aren't applied. It's time for me to do that. I need help to get that done. But so on Facebook, I've got albums with current paintings in them, and that's probably the freshest place to see what's happening. That's what I use it for. But the website is there too, and
Great.
we're gonna upgrade it soon.
Excellent. Well, it looks like we're at the end of our time. And thank you again so much, John. And thank you everyone who came out to talk with us.
Thank you so much. It was fun. I actually had a good time. Thank you.
I had a blast.
Thanks,
An
Dustin.
absolute treat.